Hey, how's it going guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we are finally doing the true test to airflow or not to airflow.
We have two identical PC builds here that we actually built over on twitch.tv/ToastBros. We did a little speed build off, so go over there and see the results of that. But what we have right here, again, are two identical PCs, but the only thing that's different is mesh versus non-mesh. Will it make a difference? Is mesh overrated? Well, we're about to find out. But first, a word from today's sponsor. VPNs in 2021 are almost essential, and today's video sponsor, Atlas VPN, aims to provide one of the best bang for buck options on the market.
Atlas VPN is a tool that encrypts your data and hides your virtual location while browsing online. Not only does it protect you, but it can also be useful for unlocking hidden content on your streaming platforms.
Did you know that there are hundreds of movies and shows on Netflix that you are missing out on because of where you may be located? Well, with Atlas VPN, you can change your region and easily gain access to this content for the cool, affordable price of $1.39 a month.
It's super simple to use. Install the VPN on your mobile or desktop device, change what region you would like to use. For example, the UK, refresh your streaming platform, and boom, you have access to new content that was being restricted originally. So what are you waiting for? Pick up Atlas VPN today.
And if you're not 100% satisfied, you can get your money back within 30 days. So use the link in the description down below. And special thanks again to Atlas VPN for sponsoring today's video. Now let's test some airflow, shall we?
So as Matt just said, we built these on stream, the exact same build. This one is the 4000D non-airflow, just 4000D. This one's the 4000D airflow. They both look pretty freaking much the same. Just the big difference is this little front panel is basically cut out to have a mesh-like front. This one has no mesh in the front. The airflow all comes in through here. So basically this test is to compare two of the exact same things minus the case, but we literally have 6700 XTs, i3-2100s with stock coolers, and everything else is the exact same. There's nothing different on this, but even the cable management is the same. So ultimately, we're probably going to lock the fans on these stock coolers to a certain speed, let's say 50%, and then put them into stress tests. We'll probably do something similar with the GPU to make sure that, you know, one's not running at a different frequency. One does not have the fans spinning at a faster RPM. We want to make these tests as consistent as possible.
And not only are we going to get that data by using something like MSI Afterburner, we have ourselves a thermal imaging camera, which is over here. Let me go grab it real quick. This is a FLIR imaging camera, which will show the temperatures of everything based on images, not actually just pulling data from little sensors on the motherboard, GPU, CPU, and things like that. And then we're also going to be demonstrating airflow by using a fog machine. The fog machine is going to, well, basically blow fog into the front of the case, and then we can kind of get a visual representation of where the air is going. And based on just guessing here, you're going to see a lot of air go through right here on the mesh version, and then this one right here probably go through the creases and stuff, but we'll give you all a visual representation of what that looks like, and yeah, that's it.
So right now, Matt is holding the camera, and he also has the detonator, if you want to show the chat that real quick. Not the chat, this is YouTube. But he has the ultimate detonator, which goes to this fog machine. It's not really a detonator, by the way. This is just a cheap fog machine from Amazon, and basically we have like a medium density fog inside of it. There shouldn't be too much moisture or anything bad that's gonna like damage components, and if there is, it's for science, and this is a lot of money, so who cares, right? But we're hoping to keep the fog machine in the exact same spot, so we have set it up here, it's not gonna move. We've put a piece of tape here so that we can put the other build in the same spot. We're gonna turn on this fog machine, let the fog run through. This isn't really super scientific, it's more of just to show you guys how the actual airflow travels and how the heat should travel as well, because naturally the fog is gonna rise just like heat will. So this should be a pretty good test. We're gonna set the airflow one up first, and I think it should be very straightforward. You're gonna see most of it going through here. A lot of it's gonna come out the top because heat rises, and then some of it will come out the back exhaust. So let's go ahead and try it.
Everything's spinning.
Everything's spinning, so.
Did I even warm this up yet?
So it might be a little bit hard to see. Can you tell if the camera's picking any of the fog up?
It is.
It's pretty.
A lot of it.
Okay, good. So as you can see, it is really going like straight in. We're getting a little bit through the sides. You can actually see it creating like a tornado effect here, where it's coming in, going out, and then a lot of it is rising up through the top, as you can see. And then a lot of it is also coming out of the rear exhaust. I mean, look how much that's moving actually in the back there.
That's lots of smoke.
So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this just so that it doesn't get so foggy we can't see the next test. But yeah, as you can see though, pretty straightforward. Every time a little puff comes in, it kind of sucks it in. But yeah, we also don't have triple fans or anything up here. We just have a singular fan. Obviously, when you have triples or more, it's gonna make a difference. I like the little Yeah, the little,
Oh, there you go, there you go. Another.
Yeah, you can really see it kind of tornadoing in here, and then
it goes pretty quick
coming out the back. It does. It exits all the air pretty fast.
So the main thing we're gonna do now is swap cases and see if you can tell a major difference on, well, the main thing you'll probably be able to see is how much of that fog actually gets inside there and how quickly does it, and then we'll compare it to the other one. All right, guys, as you can see right here, we have the solid front panel now. We are experimenting with this little FLIR camera, which we'll be doing more testing with this here in a minute when we're actually doing the temperature testing, but we're just trying to see if the FLIR camera can pick up the fog that is going inside. One thing we did get a comment on our Twitch stream, because you can follow Twitch and they're giving us input, is to just keep in mind there's a bunch of different variables going on here. This isn't a perfectly scientific test. And if you guys have any suggestions for things we could try in the future, let us know down below. But again, take numbers with a grain of salt here. We are just trying to have some fun here and show you all some fog. Fog time. All right, guys, we are going to start as long as the fog goes right now. Oh, wow.
Dude,
it's a big difference.
Yeah, the FLIR does not pick up the fog at all.
The fog is definitely not going in there as fast. And there's not as much coming out the top, like it's just hitting the front.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hitting the front, which I think that partially has to do with the propellant. What someone else, see the FLIR just like doesn't.
Yeah.
The camera's just getting darker slowly.
So it is filling up, but as you can tell, it's just kind of like, you know.
It's kind of like bleh.
It's kind of bleh. So yeah, there you go. Beautiful.
Yeah, well, you can see it's already gotten rid of all the fog that was in there. Any of the fog that did go in, I should say.
Poof.
So you can actually, that's kind of cool. You can definitely see it suck in through the side there. All right, guys, so we are ready to do the first controlled benchmark test. So as you can see, both computers are completely put together. We have side panels on front and back. This is the non-airflow, this is the airflow. We have two of the exact same monitors. They both have everything exact same installed. They both are using very similar keyboards and mice, not that it really matters. Same fan configuration as before. So far, we've actually seen all the temps are really similar, but hopefully we'll get a little bit of a difference once we actually load into the Unigem benchmark, which we do have some extra stuff installed. Like we have the CPU ID over here, which is going to show us the fan speed. Each individual core clock of the CPU to show us the temperatures, the clock, make sure one's not boosting or under boosting. We're also going to have the GPU down here at the bottom, which will show the fan speed on it, how hot or cold it's getting. So hopefully this test will be very concise. After we finish this, we're going to take the side panels off and rerun the test again with the FLIR camera so we can kind of show you guys where hot spots are, where cold spots are, and hopefully we'll see some differences there too as well. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and clear out our minimum maximum on CPU hardware monitor because this application is full screen. We will have MSI Afterburner up in the corner. It just doesn't show quite as many settings. So these at the end of the test will let us know if one was underperforming or whatever. So we're gonna go ahead and clear these min-maxes in 3, 2, 1. And then we're gonna start our test in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, we got pretty synced up there.
All right.
All right, so yeah, we got MSI Afterburner. So once again, non-airflow, airflow. And it looks like right now temps are almost the exact same. We're obviously gonna see some pretty quick fluctuations here and there that's gonna be really hard to keep track of. The min-max will be a lot easier. Yeah, I mean, right now, actually, I don't know if it's because the airflow one started first, but it's currently hotter than the non-airflow.
Let those GPUs rev up. Looks like GPUs are running about 98%, so we're getting there.
Yeah, CPU utilization, they're hovering around almost the exact same percentage. So I don't think we have any downclocking. If you look at the 4.2 and the 4.2 gigahertz, they're literally at their pretty much max turbo frequency. Really no discrepancies there. Funny enough, for some reason, the non-airflow ones, or the airflow one's getting slightly less FPS at times.
Yeah, it's weird. That could just come down to margin of error with just computer parts in general. They're not all identical.
True. All right, we got 1 degree Celsius. Oh, no, it's caught up. Let's say at first they were different. So on the non-airflow one, it's looking like maybe the GPU is like 1 Celsius to 2 Celsius hotter at most times. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what I'm seeing there, right?
All right, so we're letting this close out, and it looks like the max temp on the Airflow edition for the CPU was about 47 on the whole package, 47 on this one right here. So no real difference there. Fan speed was 1,035 RPM. This one went up a little bit more, 1,095 RPM. So this one in theory peaked a little bit hot, like higher. So it might've had like a spike where the temperature triggered it to go faster. But that really didn't impact the temperature that much because the max was about the same. So it looks like in each core though, if you go core per core, you got 46, 46, 45, 46, but there is a hotter core on the non-airflow edition. There's a 48C, 45, 45, 47. So, I mean, that's within margin of error, but that is something to keep in mind that at least one of the cores did get a little bit hotter than the other one, so. But yeah, I guess what we'll do is do a CPU stress test now. We did the gaming benchmark one, and just see if we can notice any difference there.
All right, so now, because we felt that last test mainly stressed things like the RAM, motherboard, and the graphics card, the CPU utilization stayed around like 18, 20%. So now we're just gonna do pretty much a strict CPU test. And this is Cinebench R20.
So we're gonna reset real quick.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
And then 3, 2, 1, go. And here we go, Cinebench.
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 Ooh, did it load in at like the same time?
Oh yeah, we're going.
We're ready to see how good an i3 is. And look at these guys with their Xeons, they're killing it. 16,000.
So it looks like over here on Airflow.
Both of our tests are...
yeah, it's covering it up a little bit. So over here, Airflow, we're looking at... The max right now, we're looking at 60C, but it will need to run for a little bit longer, obviously, to get the most, the best scenario. But with an air cooler, unlike like a liquid cooler, where the liquid needs to fully heat up to get to its like maximum, most of the time it'll instantly like heat up faster. So
you're gonna get a very quick ambient temperature.
So we are looking at like a 3-degree difference right now.
It's definitely heating up quicker on this side. I guess the real question is at that point, like, which fan is actually spinning faster to compensate. And it looks like the non-airflow fan is spinning faster, which is a more concrete test. And we're looking at about a 2 Celsius difference, which is just a few Fahrenheit. So definitely not
major, super
crazy, but it is a difference to note. Running at the same clock speed, we're both at around 4100 megahertz. So.
Yep, clock speed staying still because it's it went 4102 over there.
Graphic cards are looking about the exact same again. For some reason, this card is slightly hotter, but other than that, they're the exact same.
So let's keep going and we'll take a look at the numbers at the end.
So pretty close. The fan speeds are, they're scaling exactly the same. So like as the temp scales, the CPU fans scale, but they are doing the same thing. So I know there was some people who are concerned like, well, what if one CPU starts downclocking or the fan compensates? Well, kind of what we're seeing here is it's obvious this one is getting ever so slightly hotter, so the fan is compensating for that, which can be shown on this test. So that's why we don't really have a, oh, we finished the test, didn't we?
Yep, so 68C on the package, the max temperature 66. So a 2-degree difference. Is that gonna make a big difference with your PC build? Not really. If you wanna like be really particular about it, sure, 2 degrees there. But it looks like 66 across the board. We had a couple 68 cores, so 2 degrees. I would give it that for a max CPU there. Again, the temperature test might be different if you're using a slightly higher end CPU and you're talking about the difference between like 90C and something else, you might see a difference there. But just based on the apples to apples comparison, we're seeing about 2-degree difference in a basically mid-range to high-end-ish gaming PC. And I think those numbers are pretty good to show that it's not super necessary to have all the airflow in the world. It's good to have if it's the same price like this build is. I mean, might as well. But if it's a big price difference, it's not super necessary. So what we're gonna do now is go back to the superposition benchmark. We're going to take the side panels off and actually mess around with our FLIR camera and see if we can see some hot spots.
So what we're gonna do now, we have our FLIR camera set up, but it reflects off the glass really bad. I don't know if you guys can see when I put my hand here, you can see my hand right there on the glass. So we're gonna have to take off the glass panels, but obviously if we take off the glass panels before the test starts, all of our hot air or cold air is going to escape really quick. So we're gonna start the test at the same time, and then at the same time, about halfway through, I'll pull up both side panels real quick, and then we'll try to show the difference of like max and minimum temperatures. Obviously, once again, this is not the most scientific test. It's more of just like a for fun type deal. The most scientific test we've done is just showing the differences of the CPU and GPU, which we know is about 2 Celsius, very minor. So let's go ahead and start these. 3, 2, 1. So we already have the FLIR preset up on this PC here, which is the airflow one. Maybe I'll just do it one at a time.
Yeah, we'll just do one at a time.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one off now because I'm worried if we pull them both off at the same time. By the time we get there with the FLIR, the temperature is gonna be majorly different. So how are we looking on there? Can we see a hot spot on the CPU and GPU?
CPU looks really cool.
It does look very cool. The graphics card is like what's hot. So I'm gonna try to bring in the camera a little bit closer. So as you guys can see, basically we have like, this is our IO shield area. We have some USB going, so obviously that's gonna take a lot of voltage. The graphics card, this is the actual heat sink on it, so that's why that's so red. The CPU fan is staying surprisingly cool.
So is this just a test to show that the stock cooler is fine for the i3?
Yeah, right, that's what this is pretty much. And then the other like yellow areas, that's just VRMs, like on the motherboard and like the South Bridge, North Bridge type deal. But as you can see, all this is running pretty cool. Our hottest spot is the GPU, which is 45C. And it looks like the graphics card, the actual package, which is basically the actual GPU is running at 73C. So that just shows how the heat disperses to the other part. So before this test ends, let's hurry up and get up in this one. Okay, so just like, what was the other one? Were we saying 54 or was it 57?
It was like 54.
Okay, so this one's showing 57. This is the non-airflow. So it does look like, once again, right on the graphics card, that's the hottest point. And it looks like the heatsink's slightly hotter. So, you know, the heatsink might be doing a little bit more work trying to get all the heat away from the actual GPU die, which is fine, you know, to be expected. But it does go to show, once again, we're looking at about a 2 degrees Celsius difference inside of the non-airflow case. So there is a difference. That's one thing to take away. It's just not like people say it is, where they're like, oh, your PC is gonna overheat inside of this case, which obviously Matt and I, we're gonna do a nice little talk about it at the end, a nice little rant, you know, nice little roast sesh, you know what I'm saying? But so we don't really need to do too much of that now, but this is just kind of the science portion of it. FLIR camera is really cool. So I'll have an affiliate link for that if you guys want to buy it.
You want to buy a FLIR camera, link down below. We had to pay money for this FLIR camera. This video was pretty expensive, so. But yeah, the benchmark is done. You can see it cooling down now, so you're just curious to see how it cools down. With the GPU not being used, it's slowly cooling down there. But yeah, I guess after all this testing, we're just gonna have to wrap this video up real quick.
I think so. All right, guys, so before we go over the overall recap, I just want to go over a couple things. One is that I know a lot of you are going to complain about stock cooler versus an aftermarket cooler, and our ultimate rebuttal to that is they're, once again, the exact same build. So stock cooler or not, we had almost the exact same fan RPM at the end of the day, and that's what really matters, is that these tests were consistent. The other thing is I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, if you put much stronger hardware in there, the difference would be a lot more profound. Well, we probably agree on that. It definitely would make a difference, but it would probably be by a marginal percentage. So let's say we got hardware that was twice as good. Maybe instead of 2 degrees Celsius, you'd see 4 degrees Celsius difference. We don't think it'd be a major difference.
The main reason we made this video is because we do a lot of budget builds here on the channels with cases that have airflow and cases that don't have airflow. And whenever we're doing a mid-range PC, a lot of people think we're killing the hardware. It's just not gonna work. It's gonna suffocate, all this and that when we're using a non-airflow case. That's just not true. If you have a solid front panel and you're using a mid-range build, it's perfectly fine. But again, if you're doing a super high-end build, and let's just say the example of the 4000D versus this one, they're about the same price. So I mean, if you wanna go for airflow, I mean, there's no reason not to go airflow. But if we're talking like a decent price difference, then it's really not the end of the world. The number one example of this was the H510, which they did fix with the H510 Flow, and that's something to keep in mind. But for the most part, again, airflow is important, but is it as important as you think it is? It's not nearly as important as you think it is.
So overall, we hope you guys did enjoy this video, and we hope you guys maybe learned something or taught us something as well. If you did, let us know in the comment section down below, and maybe what you want us to test next, because we don't really love doing insane in-depth testing videos, but sometimes they're fun and we like doing experiments. So if you guys are nice to us, maybe we'll do another video similar to this one, so just let us know. But make sure you check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros, where we actually built these live. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
And hey, fun fact, Matt and I both built these PCs in a speedbook contest, and they will both be available at PCBros.tech.
PCBros.tech is our PC selling business. You can get it with all the mesh you want, or you can get it without. It's whatever you want. PCBros.tech, check out our website. See you guys later. Goodbye.